Good morning and welcome to Frank's School. 5th year, 113th day, first video. I'm going to start a little, I don't know, sequence of videos, not very long I don't think, which I think I'll call Getting Philosophical about Frank's School. I find myself getting philosophical and I thought, well, maybe in my style, the thing to do there is to share it. Not so much practically what's going on with the buildings I'm building and not academic, but about this whole endeavor that I've been trying to do. After all, I've been at it. I'm in the 5th year now. I'm more than halfway through the 5th year. And one of the things that has brought this on is it has dawned on me, well, gradually I suppose, that maybe I can't actually finish what I've started. Well, Frank's School itself, online, it's there. I mean, if I were to die right now, there would be 1,700 videos of me trying to teach things. So that's done. You could say that is finished, but it's not finished. All the physical things that I'm doing this year, they are not finished. And earlier in the year, I think I even mentioned it, that my heart started to give this thing where it would beat a little faster. Well, and I'd get lightheaded. And that makes one think, that when your heart behaves in a way it hadn't behaved before. And they went through all kinds of testings and stuff, and that seems to have gone away. That really just seems to have gone away. No one's very excited about that, and I'm not either. But, it made me think, I'm not going to last forever. At the moment, my shoulder, for 3 weeks, my shoulder has been so sore that I could hardly even lift it. I thought I might have broken it. I thought I had a spider bite. I don't know. I guess it'll get better. It seems like it's getting better, but this body, I'm demanding an awful lot of it this year, and I'm 70 years old. And I thought maybe I simply can't. Maybe it can't be done. Age is undeniable. I told my German friend Shirley that, well, I thought, I was hoping I would be young till I was 90 and then suddenly die. She said, in her practical German way, she said, no, it doesn't work like that. And she's right. I thought about, these guys, I thought, well, am I like one of those guys that decides he's going to be the oldest person to ever climb Mount Everest? People do stuff like that. Maybe. And a guy like that that doesn't make it, there must come a time where he realizes, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be the oldest guy to climb Mount Everest. Well, am I the oldest guy to ever create or restore a village, create a school with almost no money and almost no help? I thought about it like that a little bit. I also began to think about it. I've thought a lot about this whole business of decommissioning. I'm not sure if I've spelled that right. Decommissioning some of the things that I have built so that I don't just leave somebody with a mess. What do you do with this? If I don't make it, if I can't finish what I started, what do you do with what's there? I had written this on, I was saying, well, this phrase comes from, this is going to sound like a bummer today, I realize. I guess there's no avoiding it. Better to have tried and failed than never to have tried at all. Well, I've said that to myself pretty often because the option was always there to just let it go. Don't even try. But I didn't do that. I've tried. And I'm not giving up either. It's just that at the moment I'm being philosophical about this. There are limitations to what I can do, and I have become aware of them. Now, during the course of this year, I stopped and I laid out a movie called Resurrection. I guess I certainly didn't have to do that, but I wanted to. And then very recently I laid out a sequel to it, Mamon's Metamorphosis. That I guess I wouldn't have had to do that, and who knows, probably nothing will come of them. But I felt compelled. I needed to do that. because I feel so much like I'm witnessing a developing train wreck with Donald Trump, Rudolph H. Rump, I call him in that sequel. You know, people are watching this, wringing their hands in a lot of ways, but nonetheless the train wreck seems to be developing. So anyway, I stopped and I did that. I felt compelled to do that. All right, I'm going to go on, and not more practical than this is. I'm just kind of explaining why am I pausing and doing something so differently. Well, I've been forced to start to think. But I want to just go briefly back to this question of the fading of beauty, which I had studied. I think it was mostly last year. I tried to figure out why is it, in my eye, why is it that in so many ways, the arts, in so many classics and stuff, I see a fading of beauty that seems to have occurred around 1880. And I didn't come up with a really good explanation for that. Well, I've been going on reading the history of technology, a brief history of technology. I'm almost done. I may finish it today or tomorrow. I see where I am. And I had first read that about 50 years ago when I was in the Peace Corps. 50 years? Yeah, almost 50 years ago when I was in the Peace Corps. And I didn't read the whole way through. I think I read only to 1750. This only goes to 1900. It stopped short of that. But by that time, the damage was done in my eye. And just a couple things I'll add that I had not thought of before. Colors. You know, I read through the section on organic chemistry. Now, I'm a sort of more mechanically oriented kind of guy. So I don't think as much about chemistry, especially organic chemistry. But it goes through the matter of how, one by one, the chemists figured out how to synthesize colors. And so now we have this world where every color that you could possibly imagine, and ones you probably can't even imagine, are available to us. Well, you might think, oh, great, isn't that great? I don't think so. Actually, when I began to read about that, and it sank into me what had happened, I began to look at flowers that are now in bloom, it's June, and the natural world, the greens, the browns even, in the natural world with different eyes. Because I realized that particular color of, say, yellow, you'd only see when the dandelions came out before. And I mentioned it to my wife, and she said, well, people love colors, they love flowers. Yeah, they do, but in a way I think there was more of a specialness about those colors as they appeared in nature before they were synthesized. So I just thought I'd share that. Another thing, for a very long time, I have been not convinced of the wonders of universal literacy, reading. I have said before, I think reading can be a bad habit, which is really something for a former 8th grade English teacher to say. Usually people say, oh, the more you read, the better. The more you read, the better. And everyone should read. I'm not at all sure of that. And as I read through this, and I was coming to through the history of technology, the history of the printing industry, of inks, and then later on, photography is a little bit of a different matter, but mostly the printing press and bookbinding and stuff, and how there was this great expansion of the reading public in the early, in the middle 1800s. I think that might have contributed to it, to this fading of beauty that I see. People, it seemed to me, and another thing I should say is, as I was reading this, it would be very wrong to just have this romantic, idealistic view that, the old days, they were so nice when people lived in cottages. They were cold, they were hungry, they were sore, working in coal mines. Things were rough in many ways, but I'm talking about beauty and the fading of beauty. And I guess maybe the one thing I can, and I don't think I'll revisit this. I'm close enough to the end now that I'm into the development of agricultural equipment that occurred around that time. But I sort of see a gradual separation of humans from nature. As they move into the city, of course, the growth of cities, taking them out of the countryside. But beyond that, as machines and large industries take over and take over things that were done on a small scale before, gradually humans have been pulled away from nature, I think. And that may contribute to this fading of beauty that I saw. Well, these are two quite separate topics. I will go back to this for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 more videos, and I'll try not to be rambling about this, but I think there are things that I maybe should address. All right, thanks for your patience. Bye for now.